A letter to my son. You can be a king of pop, rich and famous, and be so miserable you can't sleep at night. You can be a leader of nations and also be a miserable and foolish jerk. You can be the most popular kid in school, yet be slipping into a destructive lifestyle that will lead to total depression. My son, winning at life is not what you think it might be. First and foremost, I will be addressing sex. All life on Earth will sexually reproduce. This means you too. You are provided with a powerful sex drive to ensure that humans will continue generation after generation. And because your biology needs you to produce offspring, I must warn you about the danger of acquiring destructive habits. Between the ages of 10 and 16, approximately, you are likely to pick up strong likes and dislikes. We call these fetishes. You must do everything in your power to avoid perverted fetishes. That is, anything that would include violence, grossly unnatural behavior, and/or promiscuousness. If you have acquired anything that falls outside the realm of a private and loving physical relationship with one partner, please squash it now. Do not wait or allow for a perverted fetish to grow even more powerful. Especially sexual violence or an attraction to pre-puberty children that will not only destroy your life, but also the lives of others. One of my lifelong best friends is in prison for most of his life, right now as I speak, for sexual relations with underage boys and girls. Some of the world's most fierce and gruesome killers are on death row due to sexually violent fantasies, in which they could not control. Do not underestimate the power of your sex drive. Keep it loving, keep it healthy and under control. My best friend, who is now in prison, was also obsessive with pornography. Beware of pornography. It is not reality. Women are being paid to act in ways that are not natural and to do things they would not normally or even desire to do, therefore leading many men to fantasize relations that are not reality. This is not a healthy state of mind. Also, be careful not to become obsessive. Never save or collect pornography. It is completely unnecessary and will likely lead to a hypersexual appetite, depression, and/or destructive habits. If you have any sexual desires outside of a loving engagement with one person, please take every measure to correct this, for the love of one partner is the essence of fulfillment. Everything else will leave you wanting and empty inside. Stealing. We have all had this urge. We want things we cannot afford, or unique objects we cannot easily attain. Ironically, it is the opportunity to steal something that also becomes your opportunity to become virtuous. It is that moment you face when an internal choice must be made that will reveal who you are and what you are to become. What kind of a person are you on the inside? Even if you know you can get away with stealing something and still decline the temptation, then you are a person of honor, trust, and virtue. Become a good person on the inside. Be good not only when people are watching, but more importantly, when nobody is watching. I must stress to you how a good and happy life is attained by having a love and a respect for yourself. And it is very hard to love and respect a crook or a cheat. A good life begins with who you are on the inside, rather than what treasures you have acquired on the outside. So who are you when nobody is watching? If you're about to put something in your pocket that does not belong to you, put it back. If you're about to cheat or shortchange somebody, reconsider, and you will change as a person in a much bigger and better way than you might have ever realized. Dishonesty. Sometimes we lie to protect ourselves from trouble. Sometimes we lie because we are embarrassed about our actions. I am not going to lecture or imply that all lies are horrible, but I will tell you this. Never tell a lie about somebody else in order to hurt them, cause them problems, or to save yourself by throwing someone else under the bus. This is despicable. It is cowardly and crooked. Own up to your wrongs and your faults, and never cast them onto others. Vanity. Be careful never to lie about yourself in order to make you seem bigger or better than you really are. Never embellish stories with half-truths. If you feel the impulse to lie in this manner, then you are probably not happy with who you are on the inside. Living right, leading a good life, will help correct this. A virtuous and honorable person will rarely, if ever, need to lie or embellish stories, but rather will be humble, the opposite of vanity. A humble person will not possess a strong desire to show off or praise him or herself, or try to make others seem lesser. A humble person feels better on the inside. Drugs. There are many kinds of drugs in this world that can alter your perception of reality or make you feel different, oftentimes better. Anytime these substances become a habit, it becomes a huge detriment in your life. Drugs will break you down, some more slowly than others. Smoking marijuana can become habit-forming, and with daily use, has a high probability of demotivating you from accomplishing day-to-day tasks. Weed needs to be carefully controlled and used more like medicine if needed often, but preferably avoided. If you reach a point where you cannot wake up and face life without it, you are probably suffering from a lack of internal happiness. You will need to practice a more loving and virtuous lifestyle in order to value sobriety. And please, never, never use a drug that is in powder or crystal form, or requires a needle. If you do this, you are on a fast road to complete and total destruction. In fact, you may never completely recover from such an episode. Avoid and resist powerful street drugs with all of your strength. Never allow them to enter your body, and steer far from those who would peddle them. Cigarettes. Well, this is just sheer stupidity. Even smokers will tell you this themselves. Don't be so stupid as to get yourself hooked and dependent on these horrible, destructive, and costly nicotine sticks. Never put one to your lips. Stop now if you have even tried. Alcohol. Please do not become a drunk. My father, your grandfather, became an alcoholic and homeless, spending his last 15 years of life completely miserable. Nobody could help him. Alcohol destroys lives and marriages like a wildfire. It has destroyed the lives of your two uncles, who you probably barely know because of these destructive habits they have acquired. Drink responsibly. Never drink so much that you can no longer stand up on your own 2 feet. And be careful with hard liquor, because it can get you there before you even know it. Alcohol is addictive. Your body can become dependent on it, much like cigarettes. So please keep it casual and in low doses. Preferably, I would wish that you never touch the stuff, but that's probably asking too much. What I do ask is that you treasure sobriety. Embrace and love leading a sober lifestyle. I do. Avoid cussing at all cost. This is not hard to do. We quickly build vocabulary habits. If you find yourself dropping F-bombs, fix it. It will go away very quickly. A dirty or negative mouth might be an indication that you are dirty or negative on the inside. Clean yourself up, inside and out. At your age, even from 12 to, say, 21, you are likely to make very irresponsible choices, even unsafe choices. This is where using your brain is very important. You must practice intelligence. Think. Think about things. Don't be impulsive. Don't jump before thinking. You must realize that becoming a winner at life and a virtuous person is deeply paired with intelligence. Always have your intellect on, like a radar scanning everything around you. Don't just trip through life. Life is an obstacle course. If you're not patient and take your time, observing and thinking, you are likely to stumble often. Being wise is oftentimes having patience. Don't always be in a hurry. Think your way to the top of the mountain. Otherwise, while you're in a heated rush, you might grab an unstable rock and fall back down to the bottom, having to start all over again. So please learn to be patient with all things. Furthermore, apply a sober intelligence to all things. Do not be quick to believe stuff you hear or what people tell you. I urge you to be a skeptic. While many parents will emphasize faith, I would ask that you always inquire, test it, look twice, check the opposing arguments, base your beliefs off of a rational and thorough examination. And never fear being agnostic, which simply means I don't know. It is perfectly okay to admit to yourself and to others that you do not know something. It is never okay to say you do know something when in fact you cannot possibly know, or have not performed a fair and rigorous examination for yourself. Likewise, always be prepared to reorganize or change your beliefs. This should occur often in your lifetime. One of the greatest personality flaws I have recognized in most people is the unwillingness to admit they are wrong, regardless of the facts. My son, you should never feel ashamed or embarrassed about being wrong. Instead, you should embrace correction. It should fill you with joy to be rightened. To have been wrong and stand corrected is a beautiful thing. I am perfectly fine with you supporting a political side or having a religious belief. But please do not adopt such ideas and theologies just because somebody else told you so and so. We are all susceptible to being duped. Nearly every human on this planet believes in something that is not true. So be diligent. Question everything, even authorities. Questions do no harm. Be a seeker for truth and live a truthful life. Empathy. This is probably the most important message I have for you, one that is deeply personal to me. Empathy, caring about others. Here lies the contradictory nature of empathy. It's not natural. The animal, insect, and plant life in this world rarely understands, recognizes, or will act out of empathy. This is a competitive world. Caring about your neighbors is nearly a foreign concept to almost every other form of life. So it is no mystery that you might be selfish, self-serving, narcissistic, and care little for the feelings or well-being of others. But this is where being human takes a twist. You see, winning is not about driving the nicest car or living in the biggest house. It is about being happy on the inside. This, my son, is where selfish pop stars have failed, where self-serving kings have lost, because it is empathy that plays a vital role in your own happiness. Empathy is how you achieve a higher state of being, higher than this world. This world will try to take it from you, try to bring you down to its level. Out of all the problems you can acquire in life, let not empathy be one of them. Care about others, all others, plants, insects, animals, and people. Being empathetic is having a loving and nurturing heart toward all things. Yesterday I took out the garbage, and a spider had weaved its web from the bumper of a car to the trash can, blocking my regular path. So instead of knocking his web down, I took 20 more steps around the car and carefully placed in the trash without disturbing him. I know his web will be destroyed soon enough, but not at that time. You see, practicing empathy will eventually become who you are and will show through all things you do. Only through a process of loving and respecting yourself, and then extending that love and respect out to all others, will you experience genuine peace, joy, and fulfillment. I do not think I need to convince you that peace and joy are much better than the opposites. So consider this. If you live in negativity, act in violence, hate, anger, or selfishness, these things will also become who you are, and a horrible place to be in. Become empathetic in all things that you do. Anger. An angry person will likely struggle severely through life. Unfortunately, anger is something we all share, no matter who you are. That is because anger is not always wrong, but can be mishandled. You must carefully manage it. Being angry is like being drunk. Once there, you are likely to lose control of your thinking faculties. You might say things you regret later, throw or break things of value, and even cause physical harm to others. Anger has caused people to lose jobs and even families and marriages, especially for those who get angry quickly. If you have a short fuse and get angry really fast, there is something wrong on the inside. Most angry people suffer from not having enough self-love and/or peace of mind. They are typically not content on the inside. Resolve this by meditating on empathy and repair internal problems, such as the number of problems I have outlined above. A virtuous and wise person will find it more difficult to be angry and is more slow to being angered. And be a good sport. Never be a sore loser. Find peace with where you are. A toxic mind is no fun for yourself or others to be around. I had once followed a streamer who plays my favorite video game, but I had to unfollow him because he complained too much. He was a sore loser. It became unbearable, unwatchable. So, my son, be of good cheer. And what about God? No mention of God? No. If your goodness is motivated because of a reward, heaven, or persuaded by fear of hell, then it is not sincere. It is not virtuous. Please be good for goodness sake. And as I end this letter, I want you to remember this. I am not preaching from the pulpit. I never did become the man I wanted to be. I learned these things too late in my life. But it is not too late for you. Please travel down a better road than the one I have traveled. Carry our name to the top of the mountain, for I have barely made it halfway. I hand off all that I have come to know in hopes that you will reach the top, and a part of me will be with you. My son, I hope this letter reaches and penetrates your heart and your mind.
I am so glad you're glad you're glad you're glad you're glad you're glad. I only have 100 years. What do I do with that time? How do I keep on breaking into pieces?